So earlier today, as mentioned, the Biden administration allowed a United Nations Security Council resolution for a ceasefire in Gaza to pass when it declined to vote, or declined to veto rather, the resolution and abstained from voting altogether. Now, despite vetoing previous resolutions, the Biden administration insists abstaining from this vote, allowing it to take effect, reflects neither a shift in policy nor a concession to the drumbeat of the political pressure from the left in the U.S. What does this mean for Israel's war against Hamas? Joining me now to discuss this and much more, Congressman Pete Sessions. He serves on the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, including the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs, as well as the House Financial Services Committee. He represents the 17th Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Sessions, welcome back to Washington Watch. Good to see you.
Tony, thank you very much. It's a delight to be with you and to hear the clarity by which your entire network speaks.
So let's talk about this. The U.S. abstained from voting, which allowed this resolution to pass. Over the last probably 5 decades, the United States has over 50 times used that veto to protect our key ally of Israel. Rarely have we seen the United States step aside and allow these resolutions that tie the hands of Israel to go forward, only under the Obama administration and now under the Biden administration. Tell us what this resolution does and how this is a really shift in priorities for the United States.
Thank you very much, Tony. As a matter of fact, it is a shift of what I believe priorities. Priorities have always been, during my 25 years in Congress, have been about making sure that we supported Israel, to make sure that when they had a dangerous neighborhood, we were there. But that also meant that we had to protect them in international bodies like the UN. And this shift or change that just occurred is most interesting because we act like we really don't understand that Israel gets attacked and attacked by the Palestinians. And this is where the Palestinians count on the flavor of international pressure to stop the Israelis from seeing all the tunnels, from seeing all of the things, the war machinery that they have. And while Israel has made sure that they were attempting to move forward in this, there are key areas that they have not gotten to yet. And so this was a resolution to stop for the rest of Ramadan. It was going to allow or at least they've stated that they would want the prisoners to be let go. We'll find out whether the Palestinians want to do that, because up to now they have not been very successful at that. But what the United States has done is essentially, I guess, split the baby, which might be a term. They're trying to play both sides of the coin, but it's very obvious to me, and I think anybody in Washington, that the Democratic Party has been infiltrated by not only the Palestinians, but this issue that is really where their whole party is. And so the president's trying to struggle with that in his foreign policy.
This is quite remarkable because this has long been, as you said, in your 25 years in Congress, a bipartisan issue of supporting Israel as a stabilizing force in the Middle East. That clearly has changed under this administration. We saw it begin to shift with the Obama administration, but clearly rapidly evolving here. Let's talk about the implications of this resolution. It's a non-binding resolution, so what does that mean?
Well, it is non-binding, and it means also, as you stated at the top of your show, that if the United States had chosen to stop this, those 5 permanent members of the Security Council have to vote unanimously with the other 10 chosen countries to make sure that it passes. But a non-binding means that they do not have to live up to this. It is simply what the UN is stating as the agreement. So once again, trying to have it both ways. And that is where I think the United States abdicating our vote by not voting made a mistake. It should have been a binding resolution to demand that the hostages be released, that the war conditions come to a close, that people be allowed to come in and see each of these areas that they still, I believe, are operating war machinery from, and to go back to where the money would not be distributed anymore out of the UN if it's going to run a war-type machine that they've got. But that's not what the resolution was, and so it was non-binding because no one wants to hold the Palestinians accountable.
Are you concerned, Congressman Sessions, that this will only fuel the anti-Semitism that we've seen here in the United States and elsewhere?
Well, you have to see this for what it is, and you can walk the halls of Congress where we are allowed to post signs outside of our offices, and virtually every single Republican office has a Pray for Israel. We stand behind Israel, just as we do the Capitol Hill Police. Almost every single Republican office has those two signs out front. You cannot find those on Democrat offices. So what this is a clear attempt to see that the Democratic Party has not only given up, they've been overrun in this matter. And the casualty is that Israel is no longer a bipartisan issue.
So let's talk about the implications of that alliance between the United States and Israel. Very strategic, not just for Israel's benefit, but for ours as well, because they are a stabilizing force in the Middle East. I was just there a week before last. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had a delegation that had been dispatched to come here to the United States. He's pulled them back after the United States abstained from voting today, clearly unhappy with the actions of the United States. This is putting what was already a strained relationship, as I had a meeting with him, spoke with him while I was there, this further strains that relationship. Where might this lead?
Well, it also further strains the relationship that the what I would say Jewish leaders have with each other also, because they are being what I believe is torn apart also over the Palestinian issue. The real problem that we have is we have been able to maintain peace in the Middle East. As you know, President Trump offered the Camp David Accords and other moving forward from Jimmy Carter forward, the Camp David Accords, all the way to at least what was through the Trump presidency, where we kept the semblance that it was a bipartisan issue, where we worked on the issues, had confidence that we could make headway. And then, as you know, during the Obama administration, we had a huge issue about whether the Iranians were going to be allowed to have the bomb or not. And the ability to attack Israel or anywhere else, including the United States, became an issue that was wrapped up, that was then passed on to President Trump, who I believe handled very successfully, not just that issue, but the moving forward to make sure that other countries, including Saudi Arabia and others, who said, we do want to see a pathway to peace. We do want to make sure that we can work with each other. And so these 5 or 6 other countries did do just that. And then President Biden has turned that.
Right. I mean, elections have consequences, and not just for us domestically, but for the entire world. Congressman Pete Sessions, always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us, and a belated happy birthday.
Thank you very much.